Whether you have a hot date planned and you want to impress them with your culinary skills, or you're just trying to feed your family a classic Italian dish, today we're going to make keto chicken parmesan. Let's get started. For this recipe, I'm going to actually be using chicken thighs instead of the classic chicken breasts. I feel like chicken thighs are more flavorful because they have a higher fat percentage in them. But I like the meat a little bit thinner, so I'm actually going to be pounding it today with either a rolling pin or you can use a mallet. For this recipe, we're going to be using 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You can use breast meat if you want, or cutlets if you have them, but I'm going to pound them down into about a 1/4 inch thick. This just makes it easier when we fry them so they get cooked all the way. Next, I'm going to lay down all of my chicken thighs and I'm going to season them with salt and pepper. I'm going to do this on both sides, and make sure you add a generous amount of salt just because you want that seasoning to go all through the meat. The breading for our chicken parmesan is going to require 3 different dips. The first dip, we're dipping it into some almond flour. That'll just give it a base coat. And then we're gonna dip it into these eggs. I have 3 eggs here that I'm gonna whisk up. So we're gonna dip it into this to give it some moisture on there, and then a final coating into this mixture, which is pork rinds and grated Parmesan cheese. Once you've repeated this step with all of your chicken thighs, it's time to fry them. So over in a skillet, I'm going to heat this up to medium-high heat and add in my favorite type of frying oil, which is avocado oil. You could use other oils here, like if you have peanut oil or ghee. Anything with a high smoke point works best, just because we're going to cook these at a relatively high heat. And a little tip I have to make sure that you know that your oil is ready at the correct high enough temperature is just to throw a little bit of that batter in there, and if it starts to sizzle, then it's ready to add your chicken. Now we can start adding in our chicken thighs, and I like to put these in just a few at a time. See, I'm only adding in 3 chicken thighs. You don't want to overcrowd your pan just because you want to allow for even cooking. And the next step, I love to give my pan a big shake just because that gets the oil going over the edges, and on top it just creates a nice crisp crust around the edges. And then once your chicken is about golden brown color, you can flip it onto the next side and then cook that for a few more minutes until it's golden brown. And once they're done cooking, you can remove them, and I like to put them onto a paper towel lined tray just to help cool off and absorb some of that excess oil. And then we're going to repeat this whole process with all of our remaining chicken thighs. Now, the pasta sauce that I like to use when I don't have a lot of time and I'm looking for convenience is this one by Rao's, and it's very low carb. So in a 1/2 cup, there's 4 grams of carbs. If you go with a traditional marinara sauce, they're actually loaded with a lot of sugars, but Rao's, they keep their sugar content low on their marinara sauces, and it's filled with lots of flavor too. But if you don't want to use a jarred variety, I do have a recipe for pizza marinara sauce on my website that I will have linked down below for you. To the top layer of a few tablespoons of the marinara sauce, I'm going to sprinkle down some Parmesan cheese. This is about 1/3 of the amount of Parmesan cheese that we have. And then just a few of the chicken thighs we're going to lay down until it forms a nice layer. Remember, we're actually making a casserole dish here. This is great for meal preps, freezer-friendly food, busy weeknights. This is an ideal keto dinner recipe for you. And then to each chicken thigh, I'm going to be adding a slice of mozzarella cheese. You can use shredded cheese if you have that instead. I just happen to have sliced mozzarella cheese. And next, we're just gonna repeat our layers. So adding more marinara sauce, sprinkling with more Parmesan cheese, adding another layer of chicken, mozzarella, and then do a final layer of marinara sauce and a final sprinkling of the Parmesan cheese. And then we're ready to bake this. And we're gonna bake this in a 400-degree oven for about 40 minutes or until the cheese is melted and bubbly on top. Once it's done, you can remove it from the oven and just let it cool just a bit just before serving, just so you can see how hot and bubbly it is. But oh man, it makes the cheesiest chicken Parmesan you can imagine. Look at that cheese pull. This stuff is delicious. Your whole family is gonna love it. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel just because I have some more awesome keto recipes coming out. Give this video a like if you love chicken Parmesan. Have a good one.